man, I had multiple conversations going. So I wanted to, I asked Russell and I asked Courtney to hop on at the same time. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on?
What's happening? What's happening?
Hey, bro.
Hey, I said I want to have Three's Company and have an odd couple all join in with different perspectives on the market. But hey, so we're going live inside of DCG, and I asked Courtney and Russell, you hit me up saying, "Hey, bro, you finna buy some puts," and I was forecasting that we was gonna have a war around June and July, and then I asked Courtney. Courtney just got his CTA, so he's an advisor for the ultra wealthy right now.
Just register for it, but yeah, it's coming.
So let me start with Russell, then we'll get into Courtney, and then and so you was hit me up with the puts. What you seeing?
And here's how I'm looking at this, right? Listen, like inflation is at what, 40-year highs? You understand? Inflation is aggressive. So that means the Feds have to get aggressive with it. You know what I'm saying? With the raising of rates. That little 25 basis points, all that did was just make inflation mad. They're going to have to get aggressive, and they're going to have to raise these rates either now or later. Either way, they're going to have to raise them. And they're going to crash this market when they do it.
Why do you believe they're going to crash the market?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that happened in 2018 when they started raising the rates.
Right. So right now, we have the lowest unemployment. We have companies can't even find employers. Mm-hmm. If we actually look at the numbers, the economy is doing great. Right?
Yeah.
Well, the economy is not doing great. The economy is falsely inflated.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
exactly.
I mean, it's been given a magic Aladdin carpet ride to the top, but it's not underpinned by anything that is really of substance. That's the issue.
But if we look at the numbers and we say the demand for cars, demand for housing, I understand inflation, but I'm saying that if I was in the office as a politician, right, and I'm just reading the review of what's going on in the economy, in their work mind, they can say that, hey,
it's a false sense of security.
False sense of security, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because there is the thing that we see on paper, and then there's the reality on the street, and the reality hasn't caught up to what's on the paper. And in a world where the demand has been falsely, put out there based on free money and, based on cheap money as far in regards to loans and all of these different things, in a world where the Fed is not in position to come to the rescue anymore, it's only a matter of time before the bottom falls out of the system. It's always only been a matter of time at this point before it falls out of the system. The reason that the demand for jobs doesn't exist is because people have been able to sit at home and get free money, so they can demand more money, right? They can demand a higher wage when they got cash in the bank and they can survive. So either you pay me or I don't come to work. That has really not really happened before at this scale. And we're seeing that squeeze. But at the same token, that comes to a head where that money runs out and prices continue to inflate, and people start slowly not to be able to afford the level of living that they're living at in the status quo. Right? So, all these things are coming to a head real fast.
So, I got your take, and then Russell, based on the economy saying that if they don't raise, they're going to crash the market. And then, I forecasted that we will have a war around June and July to kind of overshadow the economy faltering. So, I tend to believe, like right now, we are in a economic war. We were in one with China, and now Russia joined the party. They basically attached their currency to the gold, and so basically created the gold standard. The same reason the United States got rid of the guy in Libya, right?
Gaddafi,
right? Because he wanted to attach the African, the African money into the currency, gold-backed reserves. And when I told you that, hey, they just did an act of war, you told me that Russia, they've already been in war.
Yeah, Putin. There's no doubt in Putin's mind that he's been at war with the West since they started these economic sanctions. Like, this is not, even though there's been no real declaration of war against the West or from the West to Russia, please believe that the degradation of his economy, right, and this potential suffering of his people not having access to goods and services is in his mind an act of war. I have no doubt in my mind that he sees it as an act of war.
Yeah, and check out Bricks Bank. They are doing business now under New Development Bank. You know, they're trying to buy up our dollars so they can send them right back to us, and it'll just send us into super hyperinflation. I mean, just read about some of this stuff.
Yeah, warfare is not on the battlefield anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a world where we have a global economy, right? Like it's the ability to garner allies so you can cripple your opponent where it really, really hurts. Your money, your financial system.
But I think, you know, the public, there's a war on the public too, as far as attention and distraction. And I think the general public, the American public in whole, I mean, that's why I kind of said, hey, the economy is doing well. You know, that was really the numbers that is being put out there.
Sure.
I also think with the COVID, I also think with this, you know, everybody knows there's inflation but the general population is still buying. They're running out trying to buy houses, trying to buy assets, you know, and we're talking about cryptocurrency. You see guys spending 500,000 on Bored Apes that are wealthy. I think there's an attack on the middle class as well. You know, the enforcements, the tax revenue that they want to generate, you know, it is designed to go after the average American, in my opinion. And so I see a avalanche of problems coming to the economy. You know, one being that if we do have a war, we have inflation, you can buy less. They've already proved that they can shut down movement in the United States. You know, all this is leading up to more control. And I think the subway shooting yesterday was a kind of another attack to, I think they want to remove guns, you know, from the average citizen, you know, because, you know, in a period of distress, things get more violent. You got police stations right now in the United States that want to arrest people for petty crimes. In LA, they had a new thing come out saying, hey, if you come to LA, you're on your own. There's no, you know, stay to the tourist areas because we're not patrolling anything else. So the community, you know, one, financially, you know, I kind of want to get back to the financial thing. You Russell, you saying you're gonna profit by your buying long-term puts.
Yeah, like if you put SPY up on the monthly chart, you're gonna see there's not a lot of resistance, right? There's not a lot of resistance on this chart. You understand? Let me
so
give me 1 second. Let me.
I tend to believe though, if we go to war, I believe SPY will. You don't believe that SPY will shoot back up?
This is going to drop unless they drop the rates. You know, they can't do that anymore.
See, but here's the issue. The issue is that the Fed has found themselves in a position they've never found themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
And they found themselves in a position where they traditionally would have tools to combat war, right? To combat all of these things. They've already exhausted, in my opinion, they've exhausted their tools to a magnitude. There is no turning back. Rates are going up, right? And rates, I've said that for a long time. Not only are rates going up, it's not a question of not whether or not they're raising rates. The question is, how much are they going to raise rates, right? I called for 75 basis points the last time. They only did 25. They needed 75. Right now, you got some people, you got some Fed presidents who are basically saying, really, by 2023, we need to be at 300 basis points. And we need to start working our way there right now. Like, we can't be 25 basis points our way. Like, we need to make some real leaps in order to get the inflation under control. And I think the next one has to be a lot bigger, only for the simple fact, this is what I believe. I believe the Fed understands that they need a big jump. They knew it then. And that's why I said this in class to some students. They knew they needed a big jump. However, they didn't want to shock the market because you scare the market when you do certain things. Everybody's hanging on to the Fed to understand, you know, what's going to come next, what's going to happen next, for projections, right? For guidance. And if the Fed is jumping just out the box, they're going to raise rate the first time, and they do a 75 basis point, that sends shock and fear into the market. Well, what in the world are they seeing that we're not seeing? So my thought was, well, they're going to baby step their way there. They're going to do 25, then they do 50, then they do 75. However, they did the 25 hoping to see some effect on inflation, like hoping that it would actually do something to curb the inflation. It has not. It's done nothing. So now they're in a position now that they know the market is going to, this 25 base points don't even make the market sneeze. It didn't do anything. It just kept going up, bro. Like it just kept going up. And so now they're in a position where that didn't work. The worst thing they can do now is come back and do the exact same thing, and that doesn't work. So here's the question: do they overshoot it this time because of what has transpired? Right? Like it is a delicate balance that they have to they got to work with.
Yeah. Because I've read articles where they wanted to have 1.9% by the end of the year.
Yeah,
right.
I've seen as high as 2.5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, playing the devil advocate, because a lot of us, we kind of believe in the same thing. But, to say that, do you think war makes it easier for them to pass and do things and manipulate the economy even better? In the act of war, a lot of things are passed and a lot of things are slipped in to divert the attention away from what's really happening that they're going to lose, to overshout it and say, hey, we have a common enemy.
Hey, listen, man. Who was that? Clinton? Didn't Clinton press that button when he was about to get impeached?
Yeah, with the missiles.
Hey, it was like Kosovo or something. He was in the middle of the night. He's about to get impeached. He pressed the, oh, guys, I really can't deal with that impeachment thing right now. We too busy bombing people. Yeah, so I do think, I do think those things are used potentially as tactics. Manipulation happens in the market, and they use this volatility and different world events in order to do the things that they always wanted to do anyway. That's anything though. I think that's
right.
not just war, but coronavirus, anything on a global scale where they can push forward whatever agenda that they have, they're going to push it forward.
So, I mean, considering that, you Forex and trade indices, how do you see the commodities working? Like futures market? I see that becoming more and more volatile where.
Absolutely. I mean, well, it's a risk on asset, right? So in an environment of uncertainty and lack of stability, when we're talking about resource, I mean, a lot of these stuff, we're talking about resource wars, right? When it comes to oil and all this stuff, I mean, we're talking about resource wars. So in a world where you get, some supply chain problems, you get some, issues with how much is available, to the actual consumer. Look at the price of gas at the pump, right? We most consumers don't know the effect that it has on them because they're not looking. All you have to do is just go to the grocery store and try to get some eggs and see how much the pack of chicken has gone up. It's affecting them. So yeah, I think there's a lot of, I'm happy to be where I am these days, doing what I do these days, because there's going to be some wild swings.
Right.
In a lot of these different markets, when we talk about these commodities, it's going to be some wild swings, which for me and us that are traders means a lot of money to be made. Because I remember when we had the China trade deal, we going back and forth the China trade deal. Nothing had happened, but you get an article this day, it's talking about, oh yeah, everything's good, we're on track, and then the market goes up, and then the next day you get an article, oh, talks are off, and then the market goes down. Like that's what's about to go down. Like it's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah,
man, I'm just Trump for that, bro. Bring Trump back.
VIX is on its way to 30.
Right. Well, I mean, it hit 40 real quick and went right back down, right?
Yeah, it's bouncing off the trend line now, so it's going back up.
All right.
And people don't know. There are traders. The only thing they trade is fear. They only trade the VIX. They don't trade nothing else. They trade calls and puts on the VIX. That's it.
Yeah, which is smart. I mean, because that's what's in the market.
Absolutely.
Fear and greed.
That's it.
Yeah. The VIX is the real fear and greed index. So
right. So I mean, that's good. I just wanted to get the different perspective. My perspective being in crypto, in NFTs, the right project still goes up because it's a community-based asset. And so when you have a community-based asset like NFTs and art, it becomes a collector's item. And to me, those are almost, inflation proof. People are putting their assets into these digital assets to be unimpacted by what's going on out there in the world.
And that is true because my offers are going up on my NFTs.
Right. So, we happen to be in a good space having all this smart, informed guys all around us. I mean, there's multiple markets, futures market, the stocks and options, we're seeing how it is impacting all these different assets, and we can actually dabble in all of them. So, for the day traders, the VIX and the commodities, you're gonna have wild swings. A ton of money can be made there. For the guys who's less risk averse, you get into stable coin and providing liquidity. People are gonna be borrowing money, getting liquidated.
Yeah.
This is a time for the smart trader to present themselves, right, and to take advantage of this volatility.
Yeah, believe it or not, the volatility is low right now.
Right.
It's
Right. I
low.
mean,
Yeah, it's coming.
everybody's on one side. Right. The majority of the market out there is fearful. They hear inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And guys are in and out the market. But at some point, war and moves are going to have to be made, and the market is going to go one direction.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Right? It's kind of hard to have a little bit of fear and a little bit of greed. At one point, it's going to swing the pendulum. It's going to be all fear or all greed.
Yep. And I think things get worse before they get better. That's
Right.
the reality. There's a lot of pain on the way, and our job is to make sure we don't have to. We don't contribute or be on the get inside of the pain. I don't want none of the pain. I want let's leave that to somebody else.
So hey Russell, so I think I'm with you on a couple of puts. Long term over the summer. You see what happens with those.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'm working on the entries and exits.
All right, that's what's up. Well, I think we're gonna go up next week in the market. So I mean, when the next bullish period we have, it's gonna be a good opportunity to buy some VIX, buy some longer term puts.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So hey, on that note, I don't know if anybody want to have any parting words for the mastermind out there.
Stay safe out there.
Stay safe.
They say
Over
follow the plan. They say follow the plan.
Follow the plan. How about you, Russ?
Listen, do what these indicators are telling you to do.
Yeah. And I say in peacetime, plan for war, in wartime, plan for peace.
That's good.
Right. And make sure you got, a stash on the side somewhere so you can pick up things when it does get crazy. Don't put all your money in the market. Have some to the side where you can take advantage. You don't need to overtrade.
Nope.
All right. On that note, peace out.
Peace.
All right.
Take us off of